How could you possibly be thankful for 2020? Let's talk about it today on the Landlord Coach Daily Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Landlord Coach Daily Show, where we are getting ready to wrap up 2020 with the really awesome week. One of my favorite weeks to be in the office. And I know that's crazy. Like, why would you want to be in the office? I love the week before Christmas in the office. It's cool. Everybody's chill. No one's like losing their mind. And we're getting a bunch of stuff done. I just love it. I've always loved this time of year, just in general, right before Thanksgiving, all the way to the end of the year. Just one of my favorite times of the year. So hopefully it is yours too. But how could I possibly be thankful for 2020? That's today's theme of the show. So yeah, just let me walk through this here and just follow me here for a second. This isn't like, oh, so thankful for the struggle. I mean, that's part of it. Don't get me wrong. I think that's a major part of it. But there was so much to remember, because I'm thinking this time last year that I remember it going from 2019 into 2020. There was a lot of things that were like teed up for me personally, for the business, for the people that were working for me and doing work for me. Work at the business, the couple different businesses that I had. Just a lot of really good things that were lined up, and it was just really, I know I'm an obnoxiously optimistic person. I get that. Like, I am always, it's like the house could be on fire and I'm like, man, at least we're warm. I know that's just typically my outlook. And especially if you catch me in the morning, I know I'm that like ungodly happy person in the morning, which if you're not a morning person, it takes a little bit of getting used to. I was reminded we had a staff party this past Friday. We had lunch and everybody was like, ragging on me a little bit because because I'm so damn happy in the morning. I love the morning. That's like literally my favorite time of day. And I'm usually a pretty happy person to begin with, but truly one of my favorite times of the day. Just watching the sun come up, and especially when it's early, like in the summertime when it's early, and the colors of the morning, it's just great. I love it. So it's at the end of 2019, I'm thinking about it and how things could be, I'm thinking, all right, this is going to be a good year showing up, right? Like, the things started, clicking in January 2020. And then it wasn't really until I think it was like mid-February when things were kind of like, oh yeah, this Rona thing is actually a thing. Because part of that, and you might remember back, I wouldn't expect you to remember, but I was being asked to be a speaker at the National RIA Cruise, and it was going to be able to bring my bride, which was awesome because when they first called me and said, hey, would you like to be speaker? And I was like, great. Yeah. When would that be? And they're thinking, well, they told me this would be the last weekend or the last week of February. You would come back on March 1st. And I was like, that's great. I said, but if I can't bring my bride, all my crap is going to be on fire when I get back in the yard. And they said, why? I said, because my anniversary is March 1st. So if I come back from after having been on a cruise for a week and my bride was left to hold down the fort and watch the kids and be here in the snow, I wouldn't blame her for setting all my crap on fire. So yeah, so we got to have this cruise. We'd never been on a cruise before. It was a lot of fun. We had a really, really great time. Of course, this is during like the height of the fear of the Rona, right? So everyone's like freaking out, especially on cruise lines. I mean, and there was no tests that were worth a crap. So everybody was thinking, well, do we get tested? Do we not go? Like whatever else it is. I felt safe. I felt comfortable with it. Like every time you walked around a corner, everybody was squirting you with some, hand sanitizer, and on the ship. I never felt unsafe. Of course we're going, different islands and all these different places, but that was fine with me. I didn't really have a problem. But, so coming out of 2019, knowing that we're going on this cruise, seeing how many, that I'm getting to expand Landlord Coach and the visibility there, and, passing along that message of the VIP method, and just trying to help people get more time back on their calendar rather than just focusing on income generation, but now focusing on the things that truly matter to them. Now, that doesn't matter. That's not a thing that resonates with everybody. I mean, if you're broke, it's kind of hard. Like, yeah, I'd love to have more time, but I'd love to be able to pay my bills consistently too. But if you're there and you're spending so much time on income production, being time weary, especially if you're you're a married couple, or God forbid, a single spouse, or single parent, rather, not spouse. I don't know how you'd be a single spouse, but a single parent raising a child or two or three or five, and you're very, very time weary. And I mean, how do you have time to do anything? How do you have time to focus on anything other than income generation? That sounds like really pie in the sky. So not everybody's there, but how do you get to that point where you are paying your bills, but you would just like a little bit extra time on your calendar? That to me is one of the most important messages that I feel that I can pass along. Am I rolling in? Am I making all the money I want to make? No. I mean, I've got revenue goals and I've got things that I want to hit. But the fact of the matter is, the fact that I have complete and total control over my calendar, and that I'm not beholden to how I generate income, gives me a lot of flexibility in what I want to do. So, do I want more income? Of course. Like, I would love to make $500,000 more every year, like everybody else. But, that's not what I need. That's not what I need right now, because I have so much control over my calendar. Like tonight, for example, as soon as I'm done with this broadcast, I'm closing down the laptop. I'm picking up our oldest son, Leland, and we're going to go Christmas shopping together. We've never done that before. And I think that's, it's part of my vision and something I want to do with them. And I want to do it individually. I don't want to just take them all, take them at the same time. I want to take Leland tonight and Logan tomorrow, and we'll just do our thing, but figure it out, right? We don't really have a plan. So that's really cool to be able to do that. But, like 2020 for me, I think probably the biggest opponent, and this was probably the biggest opponent for everybody, was just the unknown. That was what it was for me. And I think that's fair to say with everybody, as there was just this feeling of, we didn't know how bad this thing really was, right? So it's a Pepsi. It's not anything more than that. I'm really dry today. But that was really the question that we all had, right? Richard Penn, you're thankful for every day you get. Yeah, absolutely. I am too. I really, really am. And, I think the biggest thing, especially in the real estate space, where everybody was, freaking out and worried about foreclosures and worried about having to pay rent and all that stuff, the conversations that were being had around the real estate space. And I'm going to say people in the real estate space who are true professionals, really true professionals. And this is why, I don't remember if it was, I think it was last week, maybe last Thursday, where I was talking about, quit saying that you can't wait for the flood of foreclosures to come in. Like, I just saw an ad on Facebook just a little bit ago with that very exact message, like the tsunami of defaults that's about to happen. Like, man, like, why would you? I mean, that's going to be the nature of business. I get that. But why are you like wetting your lips on someone else's misfortune? I mean, I get it that you can solve other people's problems, but that wasn't the flavor of this message at all. And I don't know. It just doesn't settle well with me. But anyway, these people were not saying that. They were saying like, wow, this is, it could be an opportunity to solve problems for other people, which, that's a little bit different than banking on people or waiting on people like a lion standing in the tall grass, waiting for the wounded gazelle to walk by. But in this particular case, we all talked about pivoting, and these were people who are very high income earners. They've done really well for themselves in business, solved a lot of people's problems. And so of course we're talking about how to work with these, eviction moratoriums. And that was a huge topic in 2020, which I think that the way the eviction moratoriums were rolled out was a complete and total disaster. I think that the way that they were done was absolutely wrong. That's another topic for another day, perhaps. But, in my own case, I had this house that I had been flipping over time. And I needed to get really intentional about getting that damn thing done because it was just taking a while. And many of you saw the outcome of that. If you haven't, I can you can ask me and I'll send you the video. But the video was a lot of fun where, Jen and I got to be really intentional about putting this little house together and how it really followed and tracked with how our marriage was. Our marriage was a disaster when this house started. In fact, I bought it and she didn't even know it. And I just kind of bought it as a way to kind of just stay, focus on something else because things were so bad at home. But as the house took shape, our marriage started taking shape and we got really, really intentional about that, and that's where I go back to my message about the fact that I have time to work on the things that I want to work on. And at that point in time, I wanted to work on my faith. At that time, I wanted to work on my marriage. And today we still get to have lunch every single day, as long as I'm in town. And, Jen and I get to have lunch every single day for, 45 minutes and watch Criminal Minds reruns, whatever it is, while we're eating bologna sandwiches or whatever we happen to be eating at the time. But I think the biggest revelation for me was being prepared to adapt and having that freedom on my calendar to do whatever it was that I needed to do. And I know a lot of successful businesses, and I know a lot of people who had really good 2020s are really looking at it in that way where, if I was truly saying, well, how do I generate income? Well, I am a strict property management industry. I would have had a really bad year. But fortunately, over 2019, probably since, well, really, if I think about 2017, I started to adapt and adjust into an education and training company. And that's Landlord Coach. And that's really where my heart is. I love teaching. I love coaching. I love writing, and I love, being able to help others maybe move their peg just one from 0 to 1. That would be great. That's a win for me. And, if you think about Tony Robbins' 6 Human Needs, in terms of significance and certainty and variety and love and connection and growth and contribution, it checks all those boxes for me. I mean, that would be considered an addiction, I suppose. But, but for me, it checks all those boxes at very high levels, especially growth and contribution, which drive me tremendously. If you see all the books that I read and the books that are sitting here on my desk, I read all of them and I re-reference them and I go back and I'm relearning this stuff because I like to continue growing and to continue to be in contribution to others. I'm going to wrap this up. But for those who are, I was in church the other day, or I was in church Sunday. It was a really good service. It was an afternoon service, and it's a masked service. So I was struggling because I just generally don't like to wear a mask that long, especially sitting down. But this one gal got up. I don't know how old she is. I mean, she's this, she could be, I'm not sure if she's 19 or 39. I have no idea. She looks young. But it was interesting because she talked about the trials of 2020. And, she was just talking about how, in her perspective, which was certainly not wrong, I couldn't help but think about, in the book of James, and not to get weird religion on you because I don't know the Bible that well. But in the book of James, I know like one of the first lines it talks about is be thankful for the trials that we go through, right? Now, if somebody wants to go out there and correct me on that, please do, because I don't I don't know it that well. But be thankful for the trials and be thankful for the, in coming through that stuff, because it's almost always on the other side, it makes you better. And in my heart, I truly, truly am. So that was how I can be thankful for 2020 this year. But for those of you who might be interested, and again, if you are interested in growing yourself, I would feel inauthentic if I didn't at least mention this. But the course that I have is landlordcoach.com/VIP. That is the Becoming a VIP in the Rental Business course. Go to this page and then it'll take you to another site. Tells you a little bit about the course and if it's something you'd be interested in. If you are interested in taking your rental business to the next level, the VIP rental business course, or Becoming a VIP in the Rental Business course, is available to purchase. So if that's something you might be interested in, check it out. Don't check it out. Either way, it doesn't change my world one way or the other. So that's all I have for today. I'm going to finish this with a quote. That which does not kill us makes us stronger, by 19th century German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, or however you say that in German. I have no idea. Perhaps someone can correct me. But anyway, that's all I have for today. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching the show today. Please be sure to place a value on your free time, because if you don't, someone else will. But most important, there is no amount of money that will make time irrelevant. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you next time. Take good care.